Hey gang, it's Paul with Stud Pack. Welcome back to the channel. A year and a half ago, Jordan, Rad, and me stood up the very first wall on our build right over here. Ever since that day, in the back of our heads has been, are we gonna pass our air blower door test? If you don't know what that is, we're gonna tell you what it is in this video. But it's something that's required here for our inspection. We have to get a certificate of occupancy, and it's based on that score, one of many things. We used a ton of different sealants, a lot of different products, and a lot of different techniques to make sure we have an airtight building. So can three guys who have never built a house before build a high performance building their very first shot and get a killer score? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. But before we get into it, we're gonna have a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Hey guys, quick break in the action to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Tecovas. Well, I'm not a cowboy by any stretch of the imagination, but I love to wear boots. Now they look good with my camo shorts, but they look awesome with a pair of jeans on. And I've been hesitant to buy boots because they're always so uncomfortable for me, and I feel like there's a break-in period. With these Tecovas, as soon as I put them on, they felt like they were built for me. They felt like a glove. What makes them so comfortable? Well, it's gotta be the fact that they're made of premium bovine and exotic leathers in a process that takes over 200 steps. And if you're fortunate enough to live near a Tecovas brick and mortar store, head on over there. You're gonna get a free drink, a free boot shine, and you're gonna meet their expert staff and get a custom awesome fitting just for you. And this is really awesome. Never heard of this. Tecovas offers custom stamping and leather branding of their boots. It would make an awesome groomsman present or bridesmaid or any present for that special occasion. So if you're ready to look styling in a new pair of Tecovas boots, just click the link in the description below or scan the QR code right here to get your favorite new pair of boots today. And Tecovas has countless styles of boots. These right here, we're calling my name, absolutely love the square toe. Thanks to Tecovas for sponsoring our video, really appreciate it. Can't wait to pull these on tonight with a pair of jeans, take my wife out, get a nice steak. But for right now, we gotta head back to work. All right guys, while we're waiting on the blower door guy, Robert is here. Remember Robert? Robert was here earlier in the project, put in the nice rough-in boxes for our mini splits and ran the line sets all the way outside. He's putting up our indoor unit upstairs. He's got these really cool mighty brackets, right? That's like a third hand for you. Yeah, coming in clutch here at the Stud Pack house. A little bit off there, but I got it. I can't wait till that thing's blowing cold air. So the line sets that Robert ran earlier are gonna be connected to the head unit line sets with a flare fitting. We're not gonna braze it, but right now Robert is up there measuring so he can cut the line set exactly in the right spot and make his flares. If it's too short, that's bad news. And if it's too long, now he's trying to cram all that in there. It's already a tight spot. Guys, Robert's making good progress on installing the mini split, and our blower door guys are here. Blower door duct test out of Houston. Jordan called them yesterday afternoon. They said we'll be here tomorrow, and here they are. Sent three guys, sent the A-team, right? Yes, sir. They're already set up to go. Let's get out of the way, see what our numbers are. So what is a blower door test and why do you need it? Well, you need it to pass inspection. And a blower door test is simply a fan, and that fan can either blow air into the house and pressurize it, or it can blow air out of the house and depressurize the house. And it's gonna find all the leaks, and it's gonna tell you how leaky your house is. Because a drafty house is a house that is much more expensive to heat or cool, because all that air you paid to heat or cool is just leaking out. We were really happy with our test, but if you have a bunch of leaks, at least you know where to start to seal them up. And a blower door test is a great test for a new home like this or an older home. And I gotta tell you guys, we were so nervous to see what our score was gonna be, because this was the first build we've ever done.
13, it's getting a good reading now. We're working with 700 square feet today.
The average?
Yeah, we're just looking at average.
14?
Times 5, because that's the air changes that we're doing here in climate zone 2. So it's times 5 divided by the hour. So we have an allowance of 816 CFMs.
Okay.
Based on that calculation that we used today. We did 5 because we do 5 air changes per hour. Climate zone 2 dictates in code that we do 5 air changes per hour. We divide it by the hour. Once we get that wrong. So that's where we come up with 816.6. You can do 817 would be the number we want to work with. You guys are coming in right at about 114. So we're getting 50 right there at the top. That's our 50 Pascal that we need to test to as far as code is concerned, and you guys are coming in at 114. So your leakage rate is 114 CFMs. Now, if you want to know your number 1 through 5, the way to figure that out is we're going to take that. First, we're going to get our volume again. So we're going to go do 700 times 14, which is 9,800. So let's just keep that in mind, 9,800. So now we'll take our 114 times 60 equals divided by 9,800, and your leakage rate is, or your number is below 1.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. I was like, sub 1, that's what I want.
You got it. Right now, you guys are coming in at 0.69. It's just an amazing number to achieve, guys. Right, all this is calibrated equipment, brand new RetroTech equipment, so just real incredible numbers.
I'm so happy. This is our first build ever, and we went crazy on the details as far as sealing everywhere.
And it shows. It really speaks to you guys' construction.
Yeah, this little space is going to pressurize or depressurize
Pretty quickly.
pretty fast because it's so small.
Yes, sir. And you're right. A larger house will have you a little more allowance. You get more area to cover, so you have a lot more opportunity to make mistakes, and it's still not going to show as much. Where this smaller home like this, it just takes one little. And I can give you an example. We're going to do a little test.
I can hear the fan speed up.
How will it move? So look at the crack that I've created, which is very insignificant.
Can't even see daylight.
No, you can feel it now if you put your hand there. And the fan is a great indicator, right? So it went to depressurize, rebalance what we're doing. That little bitty crack added. You guys are at 114. Now you guys are at 186, 187. Wow. Now we can see daylight. Let's just move it where we can see daylight. Let's say these doors were installed off-centered, not correctly. You guys didn't do a good job. Oh, look, I can see a little bit of a crack. And somebody says to you, that's not a big deal, Nick. I said, yeah, it's a very big deal. Listen to the fan now and where our numbers have moved from 114 now. We're at
245.
245.
All right, you guys out of here?
Yeah, thank you so much for using Blow Door Duct Test Houston.
Our pleasure. I got one quick question.
Yes, sir.
What's the lowest number you've ever seen?
Today was the lowest number we've seen yet, and we've been doing this for about 8 years, so
That's
amazing work.
Now, I know it's a small building, but I'm still really proud.
Excellent work.
Cool.
Thank you for using it.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Right.
Robert.
Good, man.
Jordan?
Yes, sir. Great job, guys.
Hey, what's up, dude? You seem kind of not happy?
I'm happy, but I really would have liked to have been more prepared and had the exact volume of that space for him. So I'm going to give him that number. I got my Bosch electronic tape measure. I can easily pull some numbers and give him the exact number, the exact volume, and hopefully that changes our number for the better. Let's go see. All right, got it, dude. 8830. I got the big room, and I subtracted the volume of the stairway because it's on the other side, right? Let's text him that number and see if it changes our number. All right, guys, while the blower door test was going on, Robert was downstairs setting this head unit in the garage. Yes, the garage is going to be conditioned, but it's more of a convenience than a luxury. We just want to take the edge off in the summer and make it so we don't freeze in here in the winter when we're working in the garage. So it's going to be really nice to have this mini split system by Mitsubishi in the garage. This one's all hooked up. All he has left is to do the power and the drain, but he's working outside on the condensing unit, on the exterior unit. He's got a bunch of great tips for us. Let's head out there, see what he's up to. What's up, Robert?
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
So the first thing I noticed when you unloaded your tools was this case right here, a SIG Sauer case.
Yeah, it
you know
comes
you're in
handy.
Texas when your HVAC tech has a SIG case.
Yeah,
So what's in there?
that's actually my flaring tool set from
nice.
NAVAC. So it comes with all of this. The only thing it didn't come with was a case. So my wife and I got a little creative and made that for this to hold my flaring tools.
That works
Nice.
great. And then nobody's going to steal that case.
Well, they might actually.
And so we're going to flare it
correct.
as
so,
opposed, a lot of times you'll see them braze. So why are we using flare fittings and not brazing these connections?
So on mini split units, these type of units, the metering device is actually in the outdoor unit, and there's no filter dryer installed.
Okay.
A filter dryer installed in the line. There's a lot of strainers. So I think you counted at least 3
Inside, yep.
inside this unit, and small capillary tubes.
Right.
And those plug up really easy. And the thing is, when you braze, even when you flow nitrogen, which helps a lot, and that's what you have to do when you braze, especially if you didn't flow nitrogen, you would get ash and copper oxides
inside,
Correct.
and then that gets into your tiny little orifices in the strainers and everywhere else.
and plugs it up.
Yeah,
This is
nitrogen purging, I think, is something overlooked. It's key on even a residential split system,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, and even on this unit, we're going to sweep with nitrogen before I pull a vacuum.
Okay.
So we're going to pressurize it, do a standing pressure test, and then we'll let that out, and that's going to kind of help bring out some of the air and moisture.
And the
that's
other
in
thing
there.
I noticed you did, we have more room here than is required,
Yes.
but that's on purpose. So it's mounted on these slots on this bracket.
Yeah, it's
So you have it
adjustable.
forward towards me. So if you ever had to service the unit and replace the flare, you can cut this and shove the unit back a little bit
Yeah.
without adding an extension there.
I mean, an inch is
Pretty
not
cool.
going to hurt. I mean, I
Right.
think the
Oh, yeah.
spec on this is like 6 inches
Right.
from the wall. And right now, I think we're over 10 inches. So
All right,
we've got
let's see you
use
flare
for
that
it.
guy.
The reason I cut it back is so that I have room to get my block on there and do all that. And then once I'm done making the flare, I'll clamshell this back on top of there. Just cover that up, make a little sleeve out of it. So once you make a cut, you want to make it square to the end, and then the cutter will roll in the inside end. So we use a cone style deburring tool. Make sure to point it down so that the any shavings that fall in there do not.
They'll just fall out.
They fall out, yeah. So on flaring, the thing you got to remember is put the nut on first. That's happened to me yesterday actually. So not too many times.
And I mentioned
That's why we always film the second one. That's our motto.
Yeah.
Oh, that's serious.
So yeah, so this one is if you can see that way that action, it's on sleeve bearings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's concentric, so it's not squashing the flare. It's actually rolling it out. If you look at the shape of it, it's not moving on the center. So it does two things. It creates the flare, but also creates a polishing effect. So if there's any imperfections in the pipe, it actually can smooth those out. Even to some degree, if there's a little bit of a burr left, it can take care of that as well. But always deburr when you can.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I did a flare fitting, but it was exactly the other kind you described. It just smashes it. And I can see where this would really like roll it and form it and polish it. Pretty cool.
So there's less downward pressure and more side pressure. That's why it sits in this sleeve bearing with a lot of that side loading in there. So when we set up the block, there's a stopgap gauge here for the depth. So it's important to get that inserted enough so that it will create a wide enough flare. So once it's seated, it's going to be on that stop gauge, and then I'm going to clamp it down and then check it, make sure when it comes down and I press it against the block, when I slide up to it, it should stop.
Okay.
And then when I release the tension on it, it goes over, and then I want to feel it, and there's not much place. So this has a ball detent, and there's along the top there's divots for it, so it will positively feel it engage over
right in the
3/8
center. Yeah.
once we get over to that point. So there it is. This does two things. On traditional blocks, you'll have a wing nut that locks it in over here. This just does it with the side clamp.
Okay.
This is a built-in clutch, so once the flare is completed, it will stop pressing down. It'll continue to roll and polish, but it's not going to. So you can
And you told
skinny
me
tighter. You can feel it. You want to do it?
Sure.
Go ahead. Just
You can feel it forming it.
Yep.
And you told me you only use this for mini splits, right?
Yep.
Nothing else.
Yep. I only use this whole
keep
kit.
going?
Yep. You'll feel it go. You're almost there. About a half turn.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So you can keep
It's
going.
like a clutch.
And then
Keep
as you
going.
back it out, it's spring loaded, and so it's going to continue to polish that as it rolls out.
I bet this thing isn't like $20.
No, it's a quality tool, and it makes a difference.
Of course. Now you can test it.
Yeah.
It's not
Always
good
good.
enough unless you test it, right?
That's right.
Oh, look at that.
So it creates a little bit of a flake there where it pinched some copper, so I clean those off on the back side. The nut's spinning freely in there, so I know that's good. And then I'm going to look at my 3/8 gauge. It is not going through. So, and it's just starting to enter that opening, so it's a little on the large side. But like I was saying earlier, I like it a little on the large side. Only thing you just want to make sure is it clears your threads and you get a good
Because if it's a little larger, you're getting more seal.
well,
on this part.
after you come past the edge here,
Yeah.
it's not going to matter, but you don't want it to interfere with your
Nice.
threads. So that's how you do a flare.
All right, so we're gonna get out of Robert's way and let him finish. Another thing we decided to do was to mount them on the wall. Look how convenient that is for him to work on the unit. Not just the installation, but imagine if he was maintaining it. It's all right here at eye level. So you could have put it on a pad, but we actually like this much better. We're getting a ton of comments before about the heat and really the noise that these things are gonna put out because we are right here by our neighbor's property. But guys, check this out. The unit behind Jordan has been running the whole time and you didn't even know it. That's how quiet they are. Unbelievable. So while Robert continues to work on that downstairs unit, let's check out the completed installation of the upstairs unit. Got it bolted to the wall right here. Everything's nice and clean. I think this needs like an award right here, like best AC stall in Texas, right? There's room for a plaque right there. And a key part to it is this AirX boot right here. These were sent to us. They sent us 2 of them actually to try out on our project, and I love the way that looks. And this is key in the air sealing of our building. Usually when the line sets and the power go through a building on the AC side of an install, man, there's just a nasty hole there. They spray it with great stuff, foam, tape, whatever. That looks unbelievable. They come in black, white, all different colors. We will leave a link in the description below. Again, a massive shout out to AirX. Awesome product, but right now we're gonna get out of Robert's way, let him finish, let the AC run for a couple hours and head upstairs and see how cool it really is. Man, I am excited about this. I could already feel that the stairway was cool, and man, it is like freezing in here. What do you got to say that, Jordan? Like 60 degrees? That's right. I got to go home and get my hoodie, man. I'm not used to this. It's usually in the 90s up here because it's basically the same as outside. We want to give a massive shout out to Robert with Anwath Services. He did an amazing job. Robert is just like me, all about the details, and man, did he do a great job with the install and explaining the whole system to us. Now let's talk about this mini split. It's by Mitsubishi Electric, and we got 2 of them, a 1-ton for the upstairs and a 3/4 for the downstairs, the garage, just to take the edge off when we're working down there in the Texas heat. Now there are a ton of features about this unit. Number 1, the fan up there is always on. Always on. That's unbelievable to me that you would run a fan constantly, but it's doing that for a couple of reasons. The first one is it is constantly mixing the air in here along with our big A fan so the air doesn't stratify. In other words, all the hot air up here and all the cold air down here. And it's also constantly pulling room air across the air sensor in the unit. And then that air sensor communicates with the outdoor unit, which has variable speed compressor and a variable speed fan. What that means is it's only working as hard as it needs to maintain the temperature in your building. 95% of the homes in America, or probably more than that, have a system that is on full bore, always running right as hard as it can, or it's completely off. And you can tell that when you're sitting in your living room. The unit comes on, blows cold air on you, and then it shuts off and the room warms up, and then the unit comes back on, cools down again, warms up, cools down again. That's how we've all lived our entire lives. But the temperature in here maintains throughout because that fan is running constantly. Now check out a few cool features. You see those vanes on the left and the right? On the remote, you can tell those vanes what to do. We've got them set so they're the same, but you can change them. You can make one set blow this way and one set blow that way. And speaking of features, can you see that eagle eye right there? That thing that's turning on the bottom right corner? It is scanning the room. And it is looking for infrared signatures, which means it's looking for us. And you can tell the unit, okay, when you find me, blow the air away from me because I don't like that. Or you can tell it, when you find me, wherever I go, make sure you're always following me with the air because I love that. I wouldn't want the air blowing on me, but you can set it any way you like. And if those aren't enough features for you, check out this remote. What are you doing, guy? Are you controlling an AC system or are you trying to land a rover on Mars with this thing? A ton of features. Jordan's gonna have plenty of time to figure all that out. And this is really my very first time in a building built this tight with a unit like that. And it's hard to describe how it feels. Yes, it's cool in here, but it's cool at my house. But this is a different kind of cool. It feels really clean, not just because it's a new build, but because I think the building is sealed so tight. We don't have any drafts coming in here. None of the outside air, the heat, and all the humidity that comes along with it. And it's not dry, but it's not humid. It's just right. The air feels awesome in here. And that is all with a sheet membrane door, no window coverings. And remember, we have an ERV. It's not even running yet. So by the time we get the door installed, the window blinds installed, and get the RV cranked up, this place is gonna feel unbelievable. And so if you're new to the channel, or maybe you haven't seen some of our videos on this build, you're probably asking yourself, how did you three noobs create a building that was so airtight you got one of the lowest scores in Houston, maybe all of Texas? Let's take a quick trip down memory lane and we're gonna show you. It started way back on that very first wall we stood up a very long time ago. We put down some sill sealer and we embedded it with some Lexel, so we had a nice airtight seal between the concrete and the bottom of our first wall. Now yes, we did the blower door test upstairs, but this detail you're seeing right here is something you would want to do if you're air sealing a wall on a slab on grade, but we took the same kind of care all the way throughout this building. And as you can see, we went an extra step above and beyond, and we put an extra bead on top. So we have a bead underneath and a bead on top of the sill sealer. Definitely overkill, but we're never going to be able to do this again, so we might as well get it right the first time and make sure that thing is sealed airtight and bug tight. Then once all the framing was done, it was time to put on all our zip sheathing by Huber. Awesome product, never used it before and absolutely loved it, and loved the way it turned out and air sealed our building. I think this is one of the primary reasons we got such a low blower door test, because we are sealed completely on all four sides on the walls and completely on our roof. Drive around town, look at construction sites, you're gonna see them using like OSB or that cardboard sheathing, which shouldn't even be legal. And in the end, Jordan's gonna have a really tight building, which translates to a very low utility bill in the heat of summer. We were told he can air condition this building for $40 a month. So the zip is an investment that's gonna pay for itself year after year after year as long as this building is here. So now I'm gonna hand this off to Pass Paul, who's in the 110-degree heat roasting. Sorry about that, dude. And he's going to explain how we use zip on an interior wall and tied it into the zip on the exterior walls, because the stairway on the other side of that wall is not air conditioned, and we wanted to make sure we air sealed the stairway with zip as well. Finally ready to show you this detail where we put zip on the inside of our building. That's correct, I said zip on the inside. Why are we doing this? Well, over here in the apartment, of course, that is conditioned space. We're gonna have nice filtered air, and we don't want it leaking outside into the stairway. That is unconditioned space. Our blower door test is gonna take place right here in the entrance door to the apartment. So we wanna seal that off. So as you can see, I've already put a notch in the subfloor. We're gonna put a nice bead of Lexel right down here, lay a sheet of zip in, of course goes all the way up to the ceiling, and now we're almost there. Then we're gonna get more Lexel, continue it on this band joist, just like we're doing right here, and then up this piece, all the way up to the ceiling. Then our exterior sheet will embed in that Lexel, and now we have an airtight connection right here, preventing cool, filtered air that's inside the apartment from escaping and getting outside of the envelope. Part of the zip system, an integral part, is the zip tape to cover all the seams. We start at the bottom and work our way up. Once it's on there, we roll it with a special roller that has a Z on it, just like an old typewriter key, and that Z embeds a Z on the tape so that the inspectors can be sure that you rolled it, and a project manager can be sure that his subs rolled it as well. And it's a really quick system. We just used the scaffold, worked our way around the building. So basically what we're creating is a balloon made of green zip and tape that is air sealed on the inside. And this is called Monopoly framing because it looks like the little Monopoly house. It is all sealed when it's done. And you'll notice there are no roof rafters sticking through the sheathing at the top of that upper wall, and potentially creating a lot of air leaks and places for bugs and critters to get into the house. There you go, nice shot of the completed Monopoly frame, watertight, airtight. Once we had our Monopoly building all done, it was time to seal up the window openings. We got our water seal on the outside by using Lexel by Sashco on 3 sides, the 2 sides and the top. You never want to seal the bottom so that any water that gets through the window can drain away. But when you come to the inside, you do want to air seal all 4 sides. And that started with putting in some Baccarod. Very easy to get at any home center, and I think this is a step a lot of people miss. Using Baccarod underneath your sealant is going to give you a much better performance. And of course our sealant, Big Stretch by Sashco. We think the Pella windows, along with Big Stretch and the Lexel by Sashco, were key in giving us our score. Another key reason was making minimum penetrations in our building, and that included the plumbing penetrations through our roof. All went through 1 penetration, and we sealed that using this awesome roof boot by GAF or GAF. Once the roof was all sealed in, we moved down to that bottom connection between our zip and the concrete. Lots of ways to handle that. We just use Liquid Flash by Huber, making sure we seal the bottom edge of that paneling and lapping it over the green and onto the concrete. So we get an airtight seal, a watertight seal, and really important here in the South, a bug-tight seal. And now that the outside is all sealed and dried in, we can install our spray foam using a closed cell spray foam, natural polymers by Owens Corning. And this is an incredible product. And this spray foam sealed around all the wire penetrations, the plumbing penetrations, and any micro cracks or penetrations there might have been in the exterior envelope. And this closed cell spray foam by Natural Polymers was another huge player in how we got such a low score on our build. And this was a special build in that we didn't just do all the exterior walls, there was this one interior wall we wanted to spray foam because the space on the other side of that is not conditioned. Now, I just mentioned electrical. You got to choose the right box, guys. We use boxes by Arlington that have an integrated flange, and that flange allows you to tape the box to the building to further improve your water seal and your air seal. We love the way these work, and we use boxes by Arlington a lot on this build. You can't just use a regular box from the hardware store. You got to figure out all the details, because on a build like this, if you want a low score, you got to pay attention to every detail. Now we're showing you the installation of an exterior door downstairs. Our blower door test didn't measure this door, but if you're building a one-story house with an exterior door, you're obviously going to need this detail. 3 beads of Lexcel, and you got to look under the threshold and make sure those beads don't end up in a void, otherwise you're not creating the seal. Really important to get a good seal on the bottom of your door. And so now you're probably sitting there going, well, that's great, StudPack. You guys built the thing from the ground up. You could control every detail, just like you showed us in the video, from the ground all the way to the roof. But I bought an old house. It leaks like a sieve, and I can tell that it leaks like a sieve because of my energy bill. And there's nothing I can do about it. Well, that may not be true. As you know, my daughter Summer and her husband Rad just bought a house, a 30-year-old house, and I know it leaks. I can tell it leaks. So we have Nate with Sashco. Sashco makes Lexcel, Big Stretch, a bunch of other great products that we used on this build to help us get such a low score. He's gonna come down here from Colorado and he's gonna bring his own blower door, do a test on their house, that old house, and see how leaky it is. And then we're gonna devise a plan to improve our blower door test and get their energy bill way down. So make sure you stay tuned for that video. It's gonna be great and it's gonna help a bunch of people out there. So if you think your like button is pretty well air sealed, do a test on it and send us your score, but sub 1 scores only. Remember, now you're competing against the StudPack house. Smash that like button for us, and please subscribe if you're not a subscriber to our channel already. If you're looking to get some StudPack merch, you can find us over at Bunker Branding. You can also find us over on Instagram at StudPack Official, and we will see you right back here on our very next StudPack video.